Do you feel like you understand English, and then the moment you arrive in Australia, suddenly you don't? I'm Dr. Howie Manns, and I study language and the way people use it. I grew up in the US, so I thought I knew English very well. When I first arrived here, a friend texted me and said, "Let's meet in the Arvo. Maybe 1 p.m.?" I looked everywhere for a cafe called Arvo. Turns out, Arvo means afternoon. People in Australia use a lot of slang that might seem weird and confusing. This series will explore why people use this slang and where these words come from. Let me take you on a wonderful journey of weird Aussie English through these 5 themes: joking, living, eating and drinking, working, and playing. Arvo is one of Australia's many shortenings. Why do Australians like to shorten our words like this? Well, it's part of Australians wanting to seem fun, easygoing. Aussies like to be seen as chill, laid back. Even our folk heroes are laid back. One fun word for a laid-back folk hero is the larrikin. We consider it a sign of friendship to joke with coworkers, with friends, even with people that we just met. My favorite word for this is chayaking. It's a British word that got an extreme Aussie makeover. We don't use the word chayak very much anymore, but the concept helps us understand why people joke and tease, to show appreciation and acceptance. Chayak probably started off as a fruit seller's call. Chai hike, chai hike. Over time, chayaking evolved into a kind of banter or taunting between friends or even with strangers. These days, newcomers to Australia might experience chayaking or teasing, like when they tell you that there are dangerous koalas in the trees called drop bears. There are lots of dangerous animals in Australia, but let me reassure you that drop bears aren't real. You may have noticed that we like to give people nicknames, for instance, by adding an E or an O to the end of their name. John? We'll call you Jono. Our Sharons, our Shazas, our Garys, our Gazas. This is a modern form of chayaking, and last names often get these shortenings. This is one more way that we show that we appreciate and accept you. We use this kind of informal talk even in formal settings like workplaces or politics. Politicians are sometimes keen to come up with nicknames for themselves to seem more likable or approachable. This is what Albo and ScoMo did. However, in Australia, it's not normally viewed well if you give yourself a nickname. Your mates have to give you a nickname. In principle, we Australians like to see ourselves as equal and informal. It's one way of distinguishing ourselves from more formal places, especially Britain. Swearing is another way we keep things informal in Australia, and we swear a lot. We love our B words in Australia: bugger, bastard, bullshit, but our favorite B word is bloody. Bloody has been called the Great Australian Adjective. It's historically been used to call out injustice and bad things. Whenever we say something is bloody tough in Australia, we're saying that it's so awful that we can barely describe it. We Aussies do have a reputation for using sweary and shocking language. It's one more way that we keep things informal. It's one more way that we chayak and keep things grounded, and no matter who you are, we'll call you mate. Mate is another British word that got an extreme Aussie makeover. Mate originally meant friends or work partners. In Australia, mate took on a special importance because working men traveled together and shared food and wages and houses and jobs. Mate, larrikin, and chayaking were all British words, but we Australians made them our own. We're adding new words and new meanings all of the time because Australian English is a work in progress and we're all doing our part to add new words. Some of our newest words are from Australia's newest migrants. Australians have historically been reluctant multilinguals. Before they got around to using the Wiradjuri word, kookaburra, settlers called this bird the laughing jackass, the ha-ha duck, and the whoop-whoop pigeon. There's always been a trickle of new words from Australia's many migrants, but Australia is taking to its migrant words more than ever, whether it's food names like nasi goreng or calling our mates Habib. Like kid, buddy, and dude before it, Habib isn't replacing mate. It's just one more word we use to call one another in a diverse Australia. I've heard many weird and wonderful Australian words over the years. For instance, once a tradie came to my house to fix the plumbing. My partner Ali made him a cup of tea. He said, "That's a grouse cup of tea." My partner Ali said, "Does that mean good?" I was worried, I didn't know. I went to the other room and looked it up on Google. It turns out grouse means extremely good. Aussie English can be weird, but that's what makes it so wonderful. Aussies joke and tease and give nicknames because they're being friendly, and if they're doing this with you, it's because they probably like you. And the most wonderful part about this is that Australians are always adding new words, new nicknames, and new ways of talking about something. So keep listening, keep speaking, and sometime soon you might be joking and teasing and adding new words to Australian English too.